putting the check to make sure that everyone is okay, and we see some go-go-goes.
Yes.
That means that we are going live. Let's hear it out there. It's time for game 2.
Give a cheer.
Between
Freak out.
EGIncontrol and IMLoisira on Tal'Darim Altar. We're going right into this one.
Now, on this map, again in control, despite his unorthodoxy, despite all his pylons and various bases around the world, he does have a good, straight-up game, and I am hoping he does not betray himself in this series and end up trying to do something that will hurt him more than it will help.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and so players are met with that kind of thing all the time. You know, finding a comfort level and just going. Certainly, I can understand why he decides to deploy a strategy like that. And ooh, we got the good positions again, just on the opposite side of the map. Looks like we do have IncreadibleMiracle down here as the red Protoss in the southeast, and his opponent IMLoisira as the blue Zerg in the northeast.
Looks like we're seeing both players open quite typically. We are seeing, looks like, Losira, whoa, actually not making a drone on time. I don't know if that was a mistake on his part, but he saved up to 100 minerals before producing. And we're seeing a 10th drone get produced. Something's very weird about Losira's drone timing. Both those drones have been extremely late, and he is now making an Overlord as well. In control with the pylon placement at the front, still going for that expand style.
All right, yeah, and this can, you know, the expand style can be somewhat similar to what we saw on Shakuris, but you've also got this area over here, which is the third, you know, where the rocks are, and of course it just means that there's another attack path going in, so you still have to create a wall. The wall's a little bit larger this time, and of course he'll be trying to get a complete wall off now. Curious to see what we're going to see go down first. Is it possible? What are you doing there, buddy? We'll find out. We'll keep an eye on what IncreadibleMiracle is doing here.
So it looks like he's going to make a foot, and then after he has patrolled along the shape of the foot, he would likely be throwing down a pylon. And you know, I would say that IncreadibleMiracle is the kind of player who we've seen with weirdness in his play, but he does it consistently over and over and over again. In particular, in Protoss vs. Terran, we've seen IncreadibleMiracle seemingly almost always go for a very fast gas steal. Very few Protosses would do that, but IncreadibleMiracle built an entire playstyle around it.
Well, it looked like IncreadibleMiracle was going to build something over here, and then he went down to put his Nexus, and the Nexus never went down.
There is some sort of curse floating in the air. Someone doesn't want these two players to play, and it isn't all of us. So it looks like there's the Forge popping down right now. IncreadibleMiracle now marching that probe around. And again, likely going to be going for that very fast gateway. And there it ends up popping down. Seeing a couple little stutters here and there, but Losira, as we've seen, actually getting a really fast Zergling speed upgrade.
Yeah, it's starting right now, right around the 3-minute and 30-second mark. He also takes his drones off of gas and immediately starts producing a couple of lings. We'll likely see the cannon go down here as well for IncreadibleMiracle, and just as the Forge finishes, there it goes. So got his gateway up to be safe, and we do have a couple of lings out now trying to go after this probe that is inside the base from IncreadibleMiracle, and they are going to find the pylon there. That might mean that the probe gets to live. Oh, he's going to leave the one Zergling on there, take the 3 off, take out that pylon, and get that expansion down. Unfortunately, because those rocks are there, there's not really an alternate third that you can take that is good. So we are going to have another pause, and unclear what that's from, but because it was blocked, you know, there'd be nothing you could do about that. The rocks are there. Taking the farthest one, or even the one south, a little bit tough to defend there.
You know, I do not mind taking the far straight 12 o'clock north expansion as Zerg on this map, especially when you're in that position where you've seen your opponent get walled in. It's always going to be difficult to join those two bases together, but if you do build your pool early enough, you can get those 6 Zerglings to begin knocking down those destructible rocks. It takes about 2 minutes to kill destructible rocks with 6 Zerglings. So yeah, you have to get started early. You have to get up very bright in the morning with your, you know, little...
Crack the whip.
You know, I know like a Quattro is like 4, but I don't know what 6 is. Like there's a trio of Zerglings, there's like a quattro of Zerglings, but there's not a... The double trio of Zerglings.
Double trio, I like it. I like it.
All right, sweet. It looks like Losira and IncreadibleMiracle both giving the go-ahead. So once the players do end up resuming the game, we will continue to do the commentary on the game. So just going to wait patiently. Will they do it anytime soon?
I think they're waiting for you.
All right. Looks like both players gave the go-ahead, and yes, we are going into the game. IncreadibleMiracle now has completed that wall off at the front of his base with that cybernetics core. Very important, and IncreadibleMiracle might even do a little bit of a wall test at the front of his base with that probe, just to make sure that there's nothing that will come back to haunt him for many years to come.
I think it's probably a good idea. You know, that last one was really unfortunate. We got a probe going out and scouting around as well. Lings are going to come up and check things out. Likely he'll take the towers there. But just a lot of drones coming out now for Losira. His queen is out as well. And his overlord is going to come immediately from the north and start to make his way into InControl's base. Not going to see anything out there. This is kind of how it is, because the Protoss is going to build everything at their wall. Going to have a good idea. And Losira is going to know, obviously, there's nothing too crazy that all the tech is up there at the front.
Losira has actually been supply blocked for almost a minute, yet made no overlord, actually now making 2. And we can see that there are 6 full larvae sitting by this hatch. Bad for a number of reasons. Obviously, one is that, you know, there's 6 larvae there doing nothing, but also this hatch is not producing any larvae of its own.
And we have this natural about ready to complete. Day is going to send all those 6 drones that he just made with that larva that he was stacking up and sending it down to his natural right now. We have a pylon in the back here from IncreadibleMiracle at the 3rd, and look at, there's a trio of Zerglings. It's going to take them 4 minutes.
Oh, this is going to be down eventually, but either way, I mean, Losira is going to feel quite comfortable. I mean, from the Losira cam, he sees that there is this wall off going here. Around 8 minutes and 30 seconds is generally when you got to start worrying about some forms of aggression from Protoss. As we can see, that warp gate is getting increasingly close to done, but IncreadibleMiracle, this is very interesting. Is starting to chrono boost the forge, but hasn't added on any gateways. We see no tech at all from IncreadibleMiracle. He is just getting geysers, a couple of sentries, and upgrades.
And that's kind of curious there. I mean, I wonder what he plans to do. He obviously has some sort of a plan to make that +1 effective. Although, you know, he did, we've seen some Protoss, and even Naniwa kind of did this a little bit. We're going those early upgrades, so when you do get later on, you hopefully have that huge advantage over your opponent. We're going to see a macro hatch coming out here for Losira as he's going to put it down. It makes a little nice choke here at the front, and you know, obviously not the full intention of it, but he does have this little choke right there, and the things are still beating away here at this rock. So there's only 2.
Looks like he you know, it'll happen soon enough.
Eventually.
He needs to have one of those John Henry Zerglings that can really exert a little bit of last-minute effort. There's that +1 getting close to finished by IncreadibleMiracle. He's also getting a Twilight Council, which in my eyes is a sign of a really fast +2 and blink push, increasingly becoming a very popular style of play among the Protoss pieces. Oh, a Dark Templar play from IncreadibleMiracle. This is actually a style that we've seen IncreadibleMiracle do all the way back in the early beta, and look, there is the very fast +2. This build is actually lining up brilliantly for IncreadibleMiracle.
Yeah, the lair is on its way as well, so we'll have to see where the DTs will come into play. The drone is already ready to drop that 3rd, and of course with the gateways down in the back, we're going to see this front gateway taken out so that he has a larger entrance here at his base. Getting the blink as well as the DTs, and already starting level 2, so certainly had a plan for getting that early +1 upgrade.
Do love that incredibly crisp timing on there. Lines up very, very nicely. And Losira looks like he's going for a big 2-base play. I mean, having these extra macro hatcheries all devoted to making units. We do see Losira's drone getting ready to throw down himself a little expansion, and here he goes. This is what he's been so excited to do for so long. This drone cannot wait to expand. And he can't wait. There it is. There's the expansion going down for Losira.
Now, it looked like for a moment that Losira was going to send his Lings over to the west side, and yep, the pylon goes down here. We got 2 DTs making their way in there, and let's make it a third. Now, I do not believe we have an Overseer quite yet, and the whole army is about ready to move out. He can leave this 1 DT here. He can let that hatchery finish and then start beating on it. Very, very smart. Meanwhile, he's going to take 2 more and send them into his opponent's base. At the same time, we are going to have a small army movement from IncreadibleMiracle, and there we hear the swipes going out. 1 DT in the main. Now we have an Overseer on the way, but looks like we might have to see this hatch canceled at the 3rd. All the drones have been moved from the main, and the only Overseer, no, there's a second one about ready to spawn down here, but wow, he's actually doing some decent damage here.
Wow, IncreadibleMiracle doing a huge amount of damage, securing himself a 3rd base. Now going for that robo facility to get the observers, to get those immortals. I mean, IncreadibleMiracle in just an incredible position, and Losira trying to find that sneaky little Dark Templar, but they are all over the place.
Yeah, he's really unsure where he moved off to. There's 2 Overseers here, and it was actually a perfect spot for IncreadibleMiracle to hide that one. Meanwhile, he is cannoning up that 3rd, and I don't think he's going to find... Oh, yeah, he is. He's going to find... He's like, I know you're here somewhere. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. And so that, of course, will be left in there. Now, he's controlling with both of the Overseers. Not sure if they're both a part of the army. I'd have to double check, but that would be bad if he takes out both of those Overseers and then lets that DT wreck it inside his main. He still has this one up here at the 3rd as well.
Wow, IncreadibleMiracle, the Ninja Protoss himself. You wouldn't think so because he's such a big guy, but apparently he's quick on his feet. And there is the, oh, the DT, and again, he is an instructor, Dark Templar. He has 11 kills, and they are all drones. Losira trying to go for the big counter. Amazing force fields by IncreadibleMiracle with a very straightforward defense, but that is a lot of units by Losira. IncreadibleMiracle is going to have to control this well to be able to stop this big push.
And level 3 ground weapons is on the way, so of course all that extra damage the Stalkers are doing is just going to be compounded by a little bit more, as a lot of these roaches not getting in the damage they need to be done. There are a ton of drones that are going down thanks to these DTs. Finally, we see some Lings coming in, but they're going to be able to stop, they won't be able to stop that DT. It is still present, and nearly all of the roaches will fall here for Losira. Now finally the Lings going in, but he continues the force fields at the ramp and seems to be holding this without issue.
And there's the good game. IncreadibleMiracle, who has such strong straight up play, such as right there. Great play by IncreadibleMiracle. Especially love that DT tech play, and you know, I love the way that entire army composition by IncreadibleMiracle came together. Almost always with an early expand, you see a really fast set of Wart Gates, you see a really fast Stargate. From players like Startail Ace, you see really fast robotics facility for the ultra quick Colossus push. But what IncreadibleMiracle got quickly was Geysers 3 and 4. Could not really do much for a while, but then all of a sudden he was getting +2 and Blink and Dark Templar, which is very, very hard to pull off, again, unless you get gases 3 and 4.
Right.
And use this to just have a very weird timing, but a strong timing. Even if those Dark Templar didn't kill as many drones as they did, it would still have been a very, very effective push that would have set him up in a nice spot. You can always use Blink to kill off the Overseers and force the DTs to work. It's a great build from IncreadibleMiracle. Yeah,
I mean, having those early upgrades too, and at the end of the game, the Zerg had absolutely nothing in that regard, so it makes a huge difference. The fact that you can chrono boost those out, it's just so ridiculous. If that is going to be your focus and you have the gas in order to be able to spend on that, you really could put yourself at a huge advantage. You know, he seemed perfectly fine defending at that ramp all day, and, you know, I think Losira felt like after losing his 3rd, having the DT harass it, I've kind of got to go with this, and it was shut down pretty badly by IncreadibleMiracle.
Yeah, just a couple force fields, just like throwing them out, you know, like bread to birds at the park or something like that. You really don't want the birds to eat the food, apparently, in this story, but man, poor Losira tried to break through, couldn't break it, and it's kind of that fun demonstration of when players get thrown a little bit off their game. We saw in the first game 1 that IncreadibleMiracle, when he did that block, Losira built way more Zerglings than he needed to, and IncreadibleMiracle was in a clear lead. Losira got thrown off his game and didn't quite respond optimally. Then in game 2, and Losira had a little bit of time, or should I say, attempt number 2 for game number 1, played with that nice little response, but he's not going to have that going into game 3. It's going to be a straight-up match. Whatever you do, don't go anywhere. I'm Day9.
And I'm DJ Wheaton. When we return, it'll be game 3 between EGIncontrol